Hello, I'm Jason Kirkpatrick, former Vice Mayor of the city of Arcata, California, and also Head of Communications at a Ukrainian-based nonprofit dealing with peace and climate issues. I've been doing this kind of work, peace, justice, environmental issues, including in Belfast, Northern Ireland, where I lived for a couple of years. I've been doing this work for decades. Unfortunately, from the years 2005 on for a few years, I was unwittingly befriended by a UK undercover police officer known by the name of Mark Kennedy. Mark Kennedy had befriended me first in Ireland, where I was giving public lectures about the coming G8 summit at the time. Mark drove me and a number of other people around the island of Ireland and through Belfast, where we did a couple of events, including at the City Church, about poverty, globalization, and trying to reduce poverty in Africa, as well as climate change. So Mark had targeted me for a couple of years. He visited my home in Berlin, where I stayed. I stayed at his home in Nottingham, and I knew him for a couple of years. I knew also women that he had intimate relationships with, activist women who unwittingly had relationships with an undercover officer. And after this scandal broke in 2011, I worked very hard with a lot of activists to try and see that justice was done. We worked hard to create the Undercover Police Inquiry, which is still ongoing. Theresa May, who became the Prime Minister, started that inquiry with first declaration in 2014, then 2015. She said that that inquiry would cover England and Wales, and I worked very hard to have Northern Ireland included in that inquiry because I had been in Northern Ireland with Mark Kennedy, and I knew that this issue needed to be examined there. I was lucky to have legal aid, and I got a solicitor and a QC who represented me in Belfast at the High Court. I won my first round, which was looking to get a judicial review and call for a full investigation into the spying of Mark Kennedy in Northern Ireland. Unfortunately, funding was cut, legal aid was cut, and I wasn't able to personally fundraise for seeing that this judicial review goes through, but it was online to go through, and it would have gone through if there would have been a chance to see this case to the end. Luckily, many people over the years across Ireland have worked to see justice come to light. Mark Kennedy also targeted the Shell to Sea campaign, a climate campaign in Ireland and the west of Ireland. And as I mentioned, he was in Belfast, traveled through the north there. And this is a case that people in Northern Ireland should be aware of. The Republic of Ireland, as I mentioned, Mark Kennedy also targeted me in Germany over a couple of years around the time of the 2007 G8 summit protests, where I did communications work. At the time, I organized press releases and did a lot of press work. And I had a legal case in Germany, which was successful. And in 2022, a judge in Germany declared the spying on me from Mark Kennedy as illegal. And this is what I think should be happening all across the board. It will still be around 2 more years, or around 2026 most likely, when both myself, Mark Kennedy, and dozens of other targets of undercover police spying should give evidence before the London-based Undercover Policing Inquiry. But this undercover policing scandal is the biggest scandal that I know of, that I heard of, at least since the 60s or farther on. In the USA, there's a comparable case from the 70s called COINTELPRO, when they found out the FBI was spying on lots of peace activists, but this is a scandal that continues to go on. I'll leave it there, and I thank you, especially those of you in Northern Ireland, for paying attention to this story. And it does touch even back to the Troubles. We found out that the spying unit that Mark Kennedy was in, the Special Demonstration Squad, which started in 1968, also had targeted Northern Irish related groups and had specifically targeted Eamon McCann and Bernadette Devlin. Her name was Bernadette Devlin at the time. So I also have spoken with the Bloody Sunday Justice campaign about this topic. It's just a topic that doesn't come to an end. So again, thank you very much for your attention to this issue. Take care.